Hey everyone, this is JoeLeMiracleMan, and this is my first episode of my new podcast, God and Money. Now, God and Money encompasses so many areas of my life that there's going to be different topics that we cover. It's going to be mortgages, real estate, insurance, debt and credit, family, the kingdom, and then some others. So we're going to dive in here, but as my first episode, I want to share a little bit about my backstory. So, and my nickname, JoeLeMiracleMan, there is a reason for that. So March 4th, this just several weeks ago, I celebrated Miracle Day. And March 4th is the day that I woke up from a life-threatening coma 13 years ago. So 2007, on February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day, I went into a coma that lasted 18 days. I did not wake up until March 4th. So I want to share that story. And it's really about defeating debt. And dreams don't die while dying, depressed, and drowning in debt. So, I was born the son of refugees who grew up poor in America. They grew up, in Minnesota, Brooklyn Park to be exact. Now, they fled from Vietnam in 1975. So after we were losing the war, against communist China, so Saigon fell in April of 1975, and it was around that time. But my parents did not want to live under communist rule, so they left everything. In fact, they got out of Saigon City just because they heard from my uncle, who was in the military, that there's gonna get some intense activity. I think bombings. So they're like, hey, let's get away from the city to be safe. But then later on that night, my uncle said, hey, it's not safe to go back. We're not going back. So they didn't pack. They didn't pack a bunch of stuff. They just went. Thought it was going to be a one night thing and then come back. But no, they left the country and did come back. So it was crazy. But for myself and my two sisters, so growing up relatively poor in Minnesota, I mean, we didn't really feel like we were lacking. But as soon as I was old enough to start work, I wanted to work. So that was age 14. I wanted to start a part-time job after school to start earning income so I can buy things I wanted, right? So I was trying to figure out how I could live life to the full as best I could. And as an adult, I went to the Carlson School of Management at the U of M. It's one of the top business schools in the Midwest here. I was trying to learn about business, and I started investing in real estate. And really, I was starting any business that made sense. I mean, I tried several multi-level marketing companies with very little success. Now, being a minority, a Vietnamese American with humble beginnings, I wanted really badly to become a successful entrepreneur so that I wouldn't have to struggle financially, and I guess I wanted more in life. I wanted to become financially independent and not worry about earning enough income to support myself and support my family, but also have some fun along the way. So I really wanted to be able to do the work that I enjoyed and that I found meaningful and to make an impact in people's lives. And so I could be comfortable and not live paycheck to paycheck and be under tons of debt. Now, I also really wanted to raise a family and build, some memories with them and give back to my parents and, give them a better life as well. So when my wife and I were married for only 18 months, I went into that coma in 2007 that lasted almost 3 weeks. And I didn't have any medical insurance because we got married in the Philippines. Most Americans who lived in the Philippines did not have medical insurance because in a normal situation, I mean, going to the doctor or even going to the ER for 2 hours being hooked up to an IV and on an ER bed. It only cost about $20 US. So since you know, since I was a pretty healthy person, and just like most Americans that lived in the Philippines, we did not have medical insurance. Now, with the coma, I was in the ICU for weeks and then rehab and all that stuff. I racked up a ton of medical debt. Our total debt load, or I should say my total debt load, my wife had zero debt because they don't do student loans the way we do in the Philippines and stuff. So my total debt was just over $140,000 after waking up, or after waking up from the coma. My dream to be financially independent and live a comfortable life with my family was crushed. And to make things worse, I felt terrible because there was no hope about the future. Even though a month after recovering or waking up and kind of recovering partially, we did move back to Minnesota, but I was unemployed. I was going to rehab. My wife, new to the country, left her family. She was looking for a job. So we moved in with my parents, and I was very depressed. It was really challenging. I felt even worse about the situation because, prior to the coma, so in 2001, I had filed bankruptcy with only $20,000 in debt, mostly credit card debt. So now facing $140,000, much bigger. But you see, when I filed bankruptcy in 2001, I made a promise to myself that I would not do it again. Now facing 140,000 in debt while being unemployed and facing even a bigger mountain to climb, I felt like a total financial failure. Like the shame I felt, since I have this background as a financial advisor for 3 years after college. The problem was that my friends and their families were buying homes and nicer cars and moving on with life, while my wife and I, living with my parents, both unemployed, which meant that we were lacking so much in comparison to, our peers and people our age, in the early 30s at the time. It was a huge hit to my pride and myself as a man and provider for my family. So, which you see, we wanted to have kids together, but I couldn't get back on my feet and provide for them. Then, as if by chance, something amazing happened. At church, there was this announcement about this Bible study about biblical financial stewardship. So, you know how they say if you have a mustard seed of faith, you can move a mountain? Well, I had a mustard seed of humility. You could call it faith as well, but a mustard seed of humility that, hey, if we get one thing, maybe two things out of this class, it'll be worth the 10 weeks that we invest in going through the classes and doing the homework and all that stuff. It just blew my world away. I mean, it changed, with my financial background, the things I learned in college and in being a financial advisor. What the Bible says about that really turned everything upside down. Some of it was right, but some of it was not. But it, just seeing from a biblical lens, it was amazing. But I was blessed with having these mentors and having the strength and the encouragement to get disciplined. I figured that that my way wasn't working out very well, even though, I was a Christian already. But so I would dig deeper in his ways and try to find things, to figure things out. But my whole mindset was turned upside down. So it was like a second conversion. It really was. I was cut to the heart. I was convicted. The financial principles I learned in college and as an advisor were way off. Well, some of the concepts were fine, but many were not. So the big difference was the heart and motivation and perspective towards money and possession. And it was so enlightening. It was really amazing. Following his principles, we eventually got jobs, started over in our careers. We made a budget and we stuck with it. My debt payments, our monthly debt payments were $1,500 per month, in addition to the rent we paid to rent a small 2-bedroom apartment. So we learned to feel content and focused on the lessons that we were learning and the character development and growth that we were participating in. Uh, they say whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? So God says He won't give you more than you can handle in the scriptures. So living below our means, making a plan and working that plan. We were able to save a small down payment for a house. We bought ugly cars for cash that worked and were reliable. 1993 white Honda Civic that was rusty, but I bought it for $1,100 and it lasted like 2 years until I junked it. It's pretty awesome. But anyways, so just that's the kind of life that we lived for a while. We were gradually able to upgrade the cars over time and still have no debt. We just didn't want to have any car debt. From this struggle, I discovered all about mastering money so that it doesn't master me. Now, it was crystal clear to me how to get the right kind of advice, add some accountability and encouragement, and we were able to buy our home with a 5% down payment after 6 years after the coma related major financial setback. So being able to buy our first home has been so great for our family. Our kids are at the same school, which they love. We build friendships with our neighbors. I'm the co-captain of our block, and I work with the police and fire departments in Maple Grove. We lead a small group Bible study in our home, and it's really been a blessing. So I learned that God always gives you a way out of financial situations. We did not file bankruptcy, even though I was really tempted, but we did not because we wanted to honor God's word and the commitment to repay the debts at the time that we borrowed them, because we made a commitment to repay these. So even though much of that was out of our control, I mean, the coma thing we could not plan on, but from our determination to master money and God's grace, we paid off $110,000 of debt in the first 3 years after the coma. Now, people who think getting out of a tough financial spot, earning income, saving money, buying a home is far out of reach can get there with the right kind of advice and the right kind of support and the right kind of direction. It's very important to know how to sift through the financial confusion and the wrong advice that's out there. Now, I found experienced financial professionals who understand the biblical timeless truths and who themselves have been through tough times as well, because they align with my values and my worldview. They continue to be wise advisors and counselors to me today. We all need these types of people in our lives. It's because of these wise counselors that we were able to buy the perfect home and for our growing family in the school district that we wanted, before our oldest child started kindergarten. Now, suddenly, I realized the impact of the housing market, growing and the equity we were gaining. As I mentioned, I was trying to invest in real estate and start any business that made sense, prior to the coma. So that's when it became crystal clear to me that despite financial challenges, it is possible to change course and apply solid financial principles, pay down debt, save, buy a house as a part of a financial strategy. My plan was to use our home as a financial tool to improve our position. So I started watching the real estate and mortgage markets, learning some basic technical trading analysis, watching interest rates and learn how to look for the best time to refinance. When the rates went down, then started to trend upward, that's when I would refinance. And I saved almost a whole percent off of my interest rate and lowered my mortgage payment a few $100s at the same time. And of course, that freed up more money to do other things with. Now, after that, we wanted to tap into the equity in our home to do some home improvements. So we got a credit line of $100,000 because that's how much our house had appreciated the 6 years that we've owned it. So, which is awesome. But there was still a problem. After all that, things were still not perfect. Our 3 kids are getting older. We enjoy hosting events and entertaining. We are now considering renting out our home and buying a slightly bigger home. We also considered investing in investment properties or rental properties as another side business. So although all of this while balancing and serving our insurance clients and our mortgage clients and helping other people buy their dream home. Now, there are lots of considerations and things to learn as we determine our next steps. But the problem with that is it all takes time and money. So with raising 3 kids, both of us working full-time jobs, our involvement with our community and our church, we need to carefully prioritize our time for maximum results and the quality of life. And it's not easy. So we got so frustrated with working for other people that didn't give us true earning potential and took so much of our time that we started our own mortgage company and insurance business after building up other people's businesses for years. We chose to call them Two Shop Mortgages and Two Shop Insurance. And that's 2 separate businesses with kind of matching websites. So www.twoshopmortgages.com and www.twoshopinsurance.com. So we thought that if we could create something that would make it possible to help other families buy real estate and build wealth and possibly also learn to be entrepreneurs, which that can free up their time so they can serve their communities and raise their children, then we'll be really happy. After struggling and being stressed out and overworked, I realized that I wouldn't reach my goals if I worked to build someone else's business. But I was also paralyzed by the fear of failure in the past bankruptcy and financial failures that I had, that I didn't take action for years. Though it sounds almost too good to be true, my wife was able to quit her corporate job at the end of 2018, and now she helps me in my mortgage and insurance business full time. We focus on helping families buy their dream homes and protect their futures. We spend time with our kids at their school events and serving our church by leading a small group in our home. Of course, my wife and I had to learn to work well together, which was hard at first. There's still challenges on occasion. If your husband and wife working together, you know what I mean. But it has strengthened our marriage and the parenting of our children. We are learning to become better partners in business and family, in the gospel, and in life. As a result of this, I was able to achieve my dream of being my own boss and creating a family business. I've also been able to stop living paycheck to paycheck and having tons of debt looming over me. I can stop living in fear and uncertainty because we now fully trust God to provide. No matter how dire the circumstances look, He always provides, as promised in the scriptures. It does help to have passive income built up and the stability that our businesses provide too. But none of that would be possible, or we wouldn't be as successful if we didn't choose to learn from his formula of success. And in the end, all of this has given me greater faith and greater peace in my life. We have enough for the lifestyles that we have, and we're able to give to charities and other needs. And most of all, we have extra time to invest in the relationships and community that's so important to us, so that we can truly live life to the full. Thank you for listening, and I will catch you next time.